little later. Welcome. I'm Jeff Philpott. I'm a faculty member in the communication department. Mostly what I do is I direct the university core curriculum. And I'm here with my partner, Stephanie. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Stephanie Lewis, and I am I'm a staff member here at SU, and I am the assistant director of the university core.
Great. So what we want to do today is we want to talk about a couple of things. We want to help, if I'm just going to put a slide up here to sort of help us see that. This sharing screen stuff. There we go. So what we want to do in this session is we want to help you understand what the core is and why we require it and why we think it's valuable for you. We want to help you think about how you can use the core for your own purposes so that you can use it as a vehicle for academic exploration. That means knowing something about the kinds of options you have, the choices that you have available to you, and to be able to see the core as a place where you can connect with some really valuable academic resources that will help you succeed here in your time at Seattle University. So what I want to do, I'm going to get us started here. I want to just sort of talk a bit of an overview of the core. As somebody mentioned in the chat, some of you have heard about the core previously. That's just fine. We're not going to duplicate all of that information, but I think you'll find that information is reinforced here. So when we're talking about the core is a common Seattle University experience. Unless you are in University Honors or the Matteo Ricci program, you're going to take courses as part of the core. The core consists of 13 courses, 12 in the core and 1 in your major. Those courses extend over the full 4 years of your time at Seattle University. You've got lots of choices, which is one of the themes we want to focus on today. These courses are designed for the core, so they're courses that are designed for students who are not majors in that particular field. That doesn't mean they're dumbed down or anything, but it means it doesn't assume you have background in any of the fields or any of the areas where you take those courses. They're small courses, 20 students maximum in the first year courses, the 1,000 level courses, 30 students maximum in the courses that are in your second, third, and fourth year as part of the core. And as a Jesuit university, those are rooted in the Jesuit tradition, but I think you'll see that doesn't dominate, sort of the sense of religion doesn't dominate the core at all. So a real quick diagram of sort of the core, and some of you have seen this in some previous sessions when we've talked about the core. So you'll see that the core is broken out into 4 different modules. Those modules might sort of seem like it's first year, second year, third year, fourth year, but that's not always the case. So don't feel that you have to finish all of that module 1 courses in your first year. Don't feel like you can't go on to module 2 in your first year if you're ready to go on to module 2. Try to do module 1 first, then do module 2, and then do module 3, and then do module 4. But you're going to move through these in some slightly different orders or speeds, depending on what else you're majoring in and what you're doing as part of the rest of your curriculum. So again, it's not a sense that you have to finish all of these things right away. The other thing I want you to notice here is notice that these courses all have this, back up, Jeff. There we go. Notice that these courses all have this UCOR code for University Core. That makes it really easy for you to find the core courses when it comes time for you to register. Your advisor is going to be able to help you with that. But if you just look for courses with the UCOR code, those are the courses that are going to fulfill your core requirements. So one of the things we wanted to sort of start with and spend a little bit of time just sort of sharing with you, and as a way to get us going, is, well, why take core classes? Yes, they're required, right? You've got to take them to graduate, and that's a really good reason to take them, but it's not enough of a reason, we don't think. We think that the core is also, we want the core to be something that's valuable to you. So some things that we want to emphasize about why the core is valuable is, first, these 1,000 level core courses are going to help you make a smooth transition to college. You're going to develop some skills there and learn about college, learn how to be a college student, learn about your professors, get to know some professors. You're going to be able to do that in these 1,000 level courses, and that's going to help you make a really successful transition to college. In particular, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, there are sections of core courses we call success seminars in fall quarter. And we want to strongly encourage everybody to take at least one success seminar in fall quarter. In addition to helping you be successful in your transition to college, the skills you're going to learn in core classes are skills that are going to help you succeed in your other classes. You're going to learn more effective writing skills, research skills, critical thinking skills, group work skills, information literacy. Those things are going to help you be more successful and get better grades in your other core classes as you go along. So this is going to help you. It's also going to help you long-term in your career. One of the things that we know and from national research is that the sorts of skills that employers are looking for in employees are some of the same skills that you're going to learn out of the core. Students or employers want employees who can write well, who can speak well, who can work well with others, who are creative, who can engage in critical thinking, who can use evidence effectively. Those are all things that employers say they want, and those are all things that you're going to develop as part of your core courses. And finally, and for me, what keeps me engaged in this work is the core is a place for you to grow as a whole person. And so we want you to think a bit about, well, what do you want to learn in your time in college? And spend some time thinking about that, because the core is a place where you have a lot of flexibility. Yes, you're going to take a major, and in your major, you're going to take a particular set of courses to fulfill that major. But in the core, you're going to have an incredible range of options available to you as part of that. So let me stop sharing here, and let's just spend a couple of minutes talking about that before we go any farther.
Yeah. We would, I mean, in some ways, the way I think of the core is, it's the experience that sets Seattle University apart. It's the experience that, we hope at the end of your time here, you're going to, get a sense of, oh, in addition to what I learned from my major, I got these larger skills and experiences. So I know for me personally, when I started in college, I had a lot of different interests. I knew I thought I wanted to be a writer, but I also was very interested in social work or sociology. And had I had a program like the core where I could kind of explore, it would have been really helpful to me. So we would love to know, what do you all want to learn? We're hoping you'll share in the chat. Outside of your major, what are 2 or 3 things that you would be really interested in learning about during your time at SU?
Go ahead and just list something in the chat. What are things in addition to your major you want to learn about? Just dream for a minute. Great. Sociology and psychology. Ooh, how societies evolve. Creative writing. Excellent. This is, oh, Stephanie is your person. How to improve society, a big part of the Seattle University mission. Yeah. Keep them coming.
These are great, y'all. And I'm already thinking about core courses that you'll be able to find what you're looking for. Philosophy, great. Yes. Geology and natural history.
Yay, philosophy. My experience was similar to Stephanie's in some ways. I changed majors 4 times as an undergraduate. And in 2 of those changes of majors, it was because I had taken a general education course in an area I didn't know I was interested in, and it really got me excited and wanted me to learn even more about it. A few more, maybe? We haven't heard from everybody. Yeah. Oh, we've got a couple of great courses with various queer studies. We've got some courses offered out of our women and gender studies department. And certainly we've got some biology stuff. One more. Come on, let's squeeze one more out of the group. There we go. Film. Yeah. Our film studies folks and some communication courses have some great film stuff in it. So let me pop back over to slides for just a moment, because one of the things that we want to communicate here in this session, figure out how to do. You'd think after 2 years we'd all really know doing this. We'd all really have this down, right? So we want you to encourage you to think about the core as a place where you can design your own curriculum. Where you can pick among the various choices. I went through our list today of all approved core courses. We have more than 700 different topics for core courses that are offered. Now, those aren't offered every year, right? That we offer about 500 courses a year as part of the core. But I want to communicate that you've got a lot of options here in terms of picking courses. Yes, you're going to take those courses in your major, but you also want to be taking these courses, these other courses in the core. And this is a place where you can put together some courses in ways that really work for you. You've got 12 courses you're going to take in the core over your 4 years here. That'll vary a little bit depending on what your major is, but it's going to be 10 to 12 courses that you take in the core. And some of those you'll have fewer choices in, but many of them you'll have a lot of choices. So be strategic. Try to plan ahead, working with your advisor and working with some of the resources we're going to show you here to help think about, how do I want to put together a sequence of core courses that add up to something that you want, that's going to help you put together a package of things. And so we just went through some of the lists of core courses, trying to put together what would some of those packages look like. And I'm going to go through some of these fairly quickly. We're going to go through some of these fairly quickly. We're not going to talk about all these courses, but for example, if you're really interested in creativity and art, you could easily put together a series of courses on everything from a writing course on art and social change, to a course on the art of the American West, to a course on theology and art. And then we've got a UCOR 1300 requirement where every course is going to be something about art. And you're going to be doing art, and it could be creative writing, it could be photography. We've got filmmaking for people interested in film, including cell phone filmmaking or virtual reality filmmaking. We've got courses in painting, in acting. If you're into costume, or you're into, Project Runway, right? Sewing, we got a course in costume design where you can work in the costume shop and develop costumes and learn about that as part of that. So if you're interested in the creativity and the arts, yeah, that 1300 course, you're going to find creativity in the arts there, but it's not just there. It's also in writing courses. It's in humanities courses. It's in theology courses. It's even in a couple of social science courses. Do you want to take this one, Stephanie?
Yeah. So if you're interested in racial and economic justice, again, you're going to see this really infused throughout the core curriculum. And so in one way, what's nice is you have this variety so that you can if you're look and you're like, oh, I really wanted to take that that 1400 course on poverty, but that's not offered in the quarter that you're taking in 1400. You can maybe think about like, oh, okay, well, instead I do see that there's this UCOR 1600 on economic inequality, and that's going to get me some of that information. So you can really, it allows you to choose and to have backup plans, which is always important. So yeah, so for example, I do know that the economic equality class is offered this fall, race, power, and sports offered this fall. So there's a lot going on. Jeff, do you want to get to the next one? Yeah.
Environment, that's a big issue. It's certainly part of a big issue here on our campus, and as part of our strategic plan. If you are really interested in environment and global change, climate change, and things like that, again, you've got a whole range of courses that you can take as part of this. And again, those are in a variety of categories. Sure, they're in some of the science categories, but they're also in this UCOR 1100, which is a writing course where you're going to be writing about issues of sustainable food. There's courses in literature in the environment. There are courses in social justice in the environment. This course, The Environmental Skeptic, we'll talk a little bit later about in terms of one of the success seminars. We have religion courses in sustainability of various kinds. If this is another example, if this is something you're interested in, you don't have to take these courses. You have to take a 1100, you have to take a 1400, you have to take a 1600, etc. But you can pick among these topics to put together your own design. And that continues.
So yeah, in global citizenship, I saw some folks who were talking about how to improve society or how societies evolve over time. So global citizenship is another topic that we see a lot of courses kind of fall in between. And someone asked in the chat, are all of these courses offered this year? Not necessarily all of them are, but a good number of them. The nice thing, the way that we run the core, the reason that we have such specific topics is that your teachers, your faculty are really teaching to their passions and their areas of expertise. So that's why you're not necessarily seeing every class every quarter, because not everybody can teach it. For example, this composing global music, there's one specific person on our music faculty who's teaching that one, but I do know that one's going to be offered this fall and as a success seminar. So if you're interested in music and you're interested in the global aspects of it, that's going to be a good one for you too.
Great. I'm from the communication department. Media is something really important to us in communication. And again, you've got a whole variety of options here. If you're really into media, whether it's social media or mass media, you've got choices. And again, notice how many different numbers there are here. You've got to take each of these courses, most of you. And so you've got some choices. And so you could easily put together a 6 or 7 course sequence in media, which would help you sort of, and culture, which would help you sort of develop that other expertise. There's a writing course in race, sex, and money in TV. 2 of my colleagues in communication, one of them is an expert in video games. Yeah, what a great life studying video games, right? He's really an expert, a scholarly expert in video games, and he teaches a course on how video games function as a form of communication. Another colleague of mine in the communication and media department teaches a course on Disney films, trying to understand how we make sense out of Disney films. There's a sociology course on fake news. There's an ethics course on technology. There's a course on gender in film, and a fairly brand new course taught out of our film studies department on what horror movies teach us. Personally, I'm not a horror movies fan. Got a hard time sitting through those. But he teaches a great course on how horror movies help us culturally sort of engage with the dark side of who we are in some ways. So again, you've got these great set of options here. Let's go and do another one or two.
Yeah. So again, similar as with the sustainability piece, if you have an interest in nature, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to explore that throughout the core, and not just in those science classes. There's a UCOR 1600 nature and culture. I'm not sure if that's being offered this quarter, but the faculty member who teaches that one is fabulous, and I know it will be offered later on in the year. She's teaching one of our UCOR 1910 classes, which we'll also talk about. But yeah, there's plenty of you can write about eco-criticism. The representing animals course, that's a film course. Somebody mentioned an interest in film, so that's about representing animals specifically in film. So there's just a lot of really cool takes.
Yeah, lots of options out there for you. Let's do another one here. Religions, right? We're a Catholic university, even though not everybody who works here is Catholic by any means, and certainly we don't try to convert anybody to Catholicism, but we are a kind of institution that students who are often interested in spirituality are drawn to. So in addition to taking a course in Catholic theology, which is one part of the curriculum, there's some options there. We've got a whole range of other spirituality or religious traditions. We've got a course in religions of medieval Spain, a course in Buddhism and film, course in Christian Muslim dialogue, a fairly new course in Introduction to Mindfulness. We have an anthropologist who used to be a Jesuit who studies religions of Native America. We've got somebody over in the business school who teaches a course on spiritual business. So again, we've got a variety of these sorts of courses and options available for you. And I think we have one, yeah, we got one more list here. Do you want to do this, Stephanie?
Yeah, sure. So and we'll talk a little bit more about this as we get into the success seminars, but one of the things we're really committed to is is focusing on place here in Seattle. You're coming to Seattle. We're in the Pacific Northwest. There's a whole lot of beauty out there. So we've got courses that that really engage directly with our surroundings. And so in some ways that may be a writing course, writing Seattle, engaging the arts specifically in Seattle. And then you've got courses like a sound ecosystem, and the courses that like will get you out into the area. And a lot of our courses, even if they're not specifically those success seminars that we're going to be talking about, even if they're not specifically focused, say on the city itself, they're still going to, find ways to get you out into the city.
Yeah.
Jeff, did you want to say anything about UCOR 1910 since it's on this list?
Yeah, thanks. This would be a good time to do that. So this last course on the list, UCOR 1910, that's not a required course. That's an optional course, and it's a course that happens in late summer. It happens from, I believe, August 15th through September 7th. It's an online course. You should have received some emails from our admissions office about how you can sign up for it. It's a free course. We have limited space, but it's a free course. So if you're interested, you can email us at the core or look for that email from the admissions office, and let's see if we can get you registered for that. That's a 4-week course that studies Seattle and some of the contradictions that are in Seattle, right? We're this place that is very natural and we're environmentally friendly here. We still have polluted sites in the city. We have world-class healthcare in Seattle with the Fred Hutch Cancer Research Institute, all sorts of biotechnology companies, the University of Washington Medical School, and we have people who don't have health insurance. We're cutting edge technology with Microsoft, Nintendo, Amazon, other companies, and we have neighborhoods that don't have good good Wi-Fi or internet service. And we certainly have a city where we have a diverse population, and like any big city, we have issues with diversity and economic injustice and marginalization. So this is a course, whether you live here in Seattle or from the area, or whether you're new to Seattle, you might look into that. And I think there's a really good opportunity here to learn something about Seattle. It doesn't fulfill one of your core requirements, but it's a great opportunity to learn something about the city that you're going to be spending some time in. We really think of the city as an extension of our classroom and part of what we do here at the university. We're so well located right in the middle of the city, right in the middle of the Capitol Hill neighborhood, right above downtown, right next to the International District. This is a great place to study urban living in the Pacific Northwest. So those are just some of the options, and we didn't cover everything that people had on their list. Oop, went too far there. There we go. Didn't cover everything that was on the list that you'd mentioned, but these were just some examples. And if you're interested in sexuality and gender, somebody was interested in queer issues and gender issues, we've got a range of courses on that. If you're interested in politics, we have a series of courses on politics that you could put together, courses on science and technology, courses on food, whether that's the environmental aspects of food or the food distribution system in the world, or whether it's the chemistry of cooking. We have courses on theater and literature, on immigration, on understanding cities, suburbs, and country, courses on health and disease, courses on the universe as a whole, a great course on solar systems, ours and others. If you're interested in social change, and I think at least one person in the chat mentioned they were interested in social change, we've got a whole variety of courses on activism and protest, including one I used to teach that is some great courses there where you could put something together. And those are just scratching the surface. It's what you're interested in, and that's what we're really trying to emphasize here, is for you to think about, what do you really care about? What are the things that you want to learn above and beyond what's in your major, and use this flexibility and these options that are in the core to really put together a sequence that works well for you, where when you leave here, when you get your diploma, you've had a major, maybe you've had a minor or even a second major, but you've also used your core to put together something special and unique that helps you grow as a person and makes you more valuable out in the community and to your prospective employer. Right? This is a design your own adventure type of thing that we're trying to emphasize here. Okay. Let's talk then a little bit about fall quarter. And I'm going to start here and then turn it over to Stephanie to talk a little bit about how fall quarter works. Let me go back to sharing here for a minute. Please, if you've got questions, shoot them out in the chat, and we'll also have some time for Q&A here at the end. Let's go back to sharing screen. There we go. So as you're thinking about your courses for fall quarter, and you will meet with advisors later this month and next month to plan your courses, you want to make sure that you're following your advisor's advice. You can get in trouble if you don't. But the thing I want to emphasize is pick courses that you need, right? You need a UCOR 1100 or a UCOR 1200. Follow your advisor's advice on what courses you need to take. Don't take courses you don't need. And make sure you take the ones you do need, but also pick courses that you want. And one thing we want you to pay attention to in fall quarter are these, what we call success seminars. And Stephanie's going to tell you a little bit about how those work.
Yeah. So first I want to answer David's question. So these options and requirements will appear in SU student planning, and that's right. They will be there. They're not there yet. Some of them. We are in the process of today. Our registrar's office is unhiding them, because this is what we do when we have a big incoming class each year. So the majority of the UCOR classes get set aside for y'all, the new students, so that you're not coming in and not being able to have a selection. So right now they're hidden because continuing students only had a limited number of options in module 1 this year, so you will be able to see those in My Seattle U soon, and you will be able to also read the course description soon. So I just wanted to name that. So success seminars, success stands for Seattle University Core Curriculum Engagement and Success. So they are the courses that you already need with added elements that help you get to know your new Seattle U community and succeed in your first term. So what you're going to expect when you sign up for one. So when you are in student planning, and you'll see the courses, and there will be a spot where you can click on additional information, and what you'll see is success, just the word success in the comments. That means it's a success seminar. And success will also be noted in the UCOR course descriptions, which we'll get to in a moment. So we are offering 45 of those courses this fall. So you may end up even in more than one, and that's fine. So what you expect in a success seminar is you'll receive a welcome letter from your faculty member who will introduce themselves and provide information to help you plan for the first day of class. You're going to get feedback on how you're doing in the course through smaller assignments early on in the term, and a report at midterm. So you're going to really kind of have a sense of exactly how you're doing. And you'll be introduced to one or more of our amazing and free academic support resources that can help you with writing or research, math, language, study skills, or the Media Production Center. We have a Media Production Center and a Makerspace. These sort of incredible resources, they'll be kind of brought to you. Anyone can go out and explore them, of course, but these will be brought to you in those classes. And then you'll have a chance to really engage with your classmates and the community. Many of these courses do co-curricular events. And so that might mean, so in some cases, there is one success seminar, a UCOR 1800, where part of the course, the lab work of the course, is to go out to Stewart Island, and the island itself is your lab. It's got a long weekend field trip associated with it. So that's like the kind of a premier success moment. But a lot of these other success seminars have things where, for example, if you are learning about oh, Jeff, what is Michael Ng's course name? Do you know off the top of your head?
Not the Powder Puffs course.
No, the
no.
1400.
I don't know offhand.
He's teaching a history of China, and you'll go on out and you'll have dim sum in the international district. We've got this course this picture that Jeff's showing, the Yes Farm. So that's a service opportunity learning. Yeah, it's a service learning opportunity that you'll have in one of the success courses. I believe that's is that Hillary's rhetoric?
That's Dr. Hawley's rhetoric of sustainable food
Yeah,
course.
Dr. Hawley's rhetoric for sustainable food. I know she's also done things in the past of y'all go to the farmer's market and you get to pick out some food at the farmer's market. And it can be, these co-curriculars are also just a simple time to bond with classmates. Sometimes, it'll be for one of our classes on politics, it'll be a pizza party and watching some political debates as we enter into kind of more of election season. But it also might just be meeting your class and having donuts and coffee, which is fine as well. It's really an opportunity for you to engage. And then there's also going to be guest speakers maybe that come to your class, film screenings, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's great. We really believe at Seattle University that learning happens best in a community. And so this is not a competitive place. Your success doesn't depend on somebody else's failure. That this really is a place where we want you to become part of the community. And so one of the goals of these success seminars is to help you become part of the community, to meet some other people, to meet your professors, to meet fellow students, really become part of who we are here. You're going to have a better time. You're going to learn more, and you're going to be more successful as part of that. So as you go into registration for this first fall, and that's going to happen this summer, keep this in mind. You want to start thinking about what your options are, what are the topics you're really interested in, and we'll show you how to do that here in just a moment. And make sure you take at least one success seminar to get off the ground and get going really well. As you move to future quarters, keep following your requirements on MySU and following your advisor's advice. I put a note in the chat about your program evaluation. One of the things you'll have access to in MySU, which is the record center that you'll use in MySU, is this thing called the program evaluation. It lists all of your required courses, and as you go through and take courses, it will check them off and mark them complete. So that makes it really easy for you to follow. What do I have to take? What do I still have left to take? What have I already taken? And look for ways to build your own curriculum. Remember those lists we talked about just a few minutes ago? Sort of what are the courses you're interested in? Can you put together a set that creates a pathway for you that you're really interested in that might fit together? And do your research. And that's what we want to show you here, is a little bit about how to do research and how to figure out what the topics are and where you can find those courses. So when you go into MySU, and you'll do this, your advisors, when you have these sessions later this month and next month, your advisors will show you how to do this. You're going to go into MySU and you're going to go into something called Search for Classes or Register for Classes. There are two different ways to do this, but it's the same thing. And that Search for Classes or Register for Classes page will, and if you put UCOR in, it will pull up a list of all the UCOR courses. But the UCOR courses that are available, what you'll see in MySU, don't tell you what those course descriptions are. They'll just tell you what the course is, what the title is, who the professor is, and what time of day and what days the course is taught on. So you want to look for what I've got highlighted in yellow here, this UCOR section descriptions page. And I'm going to actually take you there now, if I can make this work. All right, and I need to stop that share and share this other one. Boom, boom, boom. Again, you would think we would all have this down by now. Where did it go? There we go. All right, so this will jump you into a page where you'll see the courses that are available. And so one of the courses, this is for this last spring, because the things for this fall, well, here's one for this fall. So we have a writing seminar on writing and identity in art. That's being offered this fall. So if you click on the label of that, this is all the UCOR 1100s, the writing courses. Now we're into the 1200s. So you'll see this list here. But what you can do is you can click on the title where that plus sign is, and it will pull up a description of what that course is about. the particular theme that that course has. And so you can look down these various ones. Here's a mathematics course. Let's see, let's do a different one than that. Let's go down to some third. Here we go. That's spring. Intro to video art. So here's a course in how to do film production, where you'll understand basics of video production. So you'll see these descriptions. So with 500 courses being offered a year, you can imagine there's a lot of different options there. And so give yourself some time before you register. Statistical thinking will be offered this year, Daphne. We're not sure it's going to be offered in fall or not. It may be, we have still some uncertainty of exactly which UCOR 1200s will be offered in fall, but I'm quite certain before the end of the year, the statistical thinking course will be offered. Good question. So spend some time going through the list of courses, both looking at what courses are being offered in fall and then going over to this other web page that I just showed you. You're going to go to that link that says course descriptions that I'd highlighted in yellow. You're going to see that in all bold when you go to the MySU. That's going to give you the opportunity to search through the various courses that are available and pick courses that really appeal to you in some way. All right, I think we're caught up on that. Let's go back to our
I
slide.
put the
Go
link
ahead.
in the chat, so you can also bookmark that link if you like. Again, because we were hiding the fall sections, saving them for you all. Those will be up early next week. You'll be able to see those descriptions.
Yeah, and that hiding things, just be patient. They will show up very soon here. And remember what Stephanie said, we do that so that you have lots of good options. And remember that in a year from now, when it comes time for you to register for classes your second fall, there'll be fewer of these 1,000 classes listed next fall because we will be saving them for the new students who are coming in then. But that's okay. We're saving these courses for you here now. So that's a little bit about sort of the strategy of thinking about the core. What I have planned, we have planned next is to talk a little bit about the structure of the core. But let's just pause here for a moment. Are there questions that you have about what we've covered so far, about this sense of using the core as your own private curriculum, as developing it and designing your courses in a way that fit for you? Anything of what we've covered so far, you've got questions about it, we could say more about?
Feel free to put them in the chat or unmute if you'd like.
Yeah. Okay, feel free to put questions in the chat. Let's do this then. I'm going to walk through the structure of the core very quickly. You may have heard this at one of the admission sessions or one of the information sessions we've had earlier in the year. I'm going to go through it fairly quickly. You're going to learn a lot more about it from the core website and from your advisor and when you get here on campus. But I want to step back and give you sort of the 30,000 foot elevation view of what the core is. So I'm going to go back to that diagram.
I'm going to answer. So David has asked, do you recommend taking the UCOR in order of early numbers to later? No, you can really, this is what we're saying, like you really can pick and choose. So if you, if you, for example, are really kind of excited you're like, oh, that Stewart Island lab field trip course that they mentioned sounds exciting. You can take a UCOR 1800 in your first term. The one recommendation that we do have is UCOR 1100 academic writing seminar. That one is really such a foundational course. So if you don't have, if you're not coming in with credit, or if that's one that you can get credit from APIB. So if you're not coming in with that, that credit, we would really recommend taking that one in fall if you can, and we'll have plenty of sections of it for fall, or if not fall, winter. But otherwise, you can mix it up if you're really, you know, you can view it as, I'm going to get math out of the way, so I'm going to do that one first. That's just me as an English major. Or you can say, well, I know I'm majoring in nursing, but I really just want to read some good books this term. So I'm going to look at the 1400s and see what literature courses are in there for the 1400s. So you do not have to take them in order of numbers. The only thing where that starts getting sticky is you do have to complete your module 1 before you can dive into module 3. So you will have to get those finished up in that way, but you don't have to go 1100, 1200, 1300.
Exactly. So this is our diagram of the core again. And like I said, we're just going to go through it pretty quickly here, overview it. It starts with 3 courses that we think of as foundational courses with key foundational skills. There's a writing course. There's a mathematics course. If you are in a major that requires mathematics, you do not have to take UCOR 1200. The mathematics course you will take in your major will fulfill that. So if you're a science major or a business major, a couple of other majors that require advanced mathematics, you're going to not have to take the UCOR 1200. And then there's this UCOR 1300, which is that art course with a wide variety of different arts you can take. That's followed by 3 courses that we call inquiry seminars. One of the humanities are things like literature, history, philosophy. One of the social sciences, economics, political science, psychology, sociology, anthropology. One of the natural sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, geology, that sort of thing. So you'll take one of each of these 3 courses. These are not survey courses. These are courses that are focused on a particular question in one of those fields. And these are 3 courses, 3 areas where you have an incredible range of different options for you to be able to take. Remember how many of those courses we were looking at earlier were 1400 or 1600 or 1800 courses. This is a place where we have just scads of options for you to be able to pick from. So that's module 1. Module 2 is where our sort of key philosophical and theological traditions of the Jesuits are embedded in the core. So there's a theology course. This is a course in some aspect of the Catholic tradition and Jesuit tradition. Don't worry, this is not catechism. This is not going to be an attempt to convert anybody to Christianity or Catholicism. These courses are an academic study of the religious tradition that we are part of. And again, you probably saw earlier, there were a lot of options available for those different courses. Then there's 2 philosophy courses, a course in the philosophy of the human person, which is an introduction to philosophy and explores some of the key philosophical themes that are have been part of the Jesuit tradition. And then there's a course in ethics. If you're a business student, you'll probably take a course in business ethics. If you're a nursing student or pre-med, you may want to take the course in healthcare ethics. There's an environmental ethics course. There's an ethics of food course. And there are a variety of just courses in ethics that will explore a wide variety of different case studies. And again, like the religion course, these are courses not designed to tell you what is and is not ethical. These are courses designed to help you to think about ethics more deeply and develop your own sense of what's best for ethics.
Jeff,
Module.
can I pause for a minute? We have a couple of
Please.
questions
Excellent.
coming in on the chat. So one, do you recommend creating a 4-year plan or just a 1st-year plan for now? So in terms of if you're really wanting to choose your topics, that you're not going to be able to really create a 4-year plan in UCOR to really see the topic. So you can certainly use, I think a lot of the majors have sample 4-year plans, and you can do that and work with your advisors just to make sure you're staying on track, just to get a sense of, okay, I know I want to take UCOR 1100 in the fall, and I have room for one more UCOR, and I think I want to do an art class. So I'm going to do UCOR 1300. And then you can kind of plan out where you're going to do your other UCORs throughout the year, but you won't be able to see the topics. And then the other question, Jeff, you're about to lead into this engaging the world, and we have a question about study abroad and how that works. Do you want to speak to that?
You bet, Ian, this is great timing. So module 3 of the core is about becoming a more effective global citizen. And one of the reasons we designed the core this way and put these courses up here at the 3000 level is so that students could take 1, 2, occasionally all 3 of them. I'll talk more about it here in just a moment, as part of a study abroad program. And so many students do study abroad in their sophomore or junior year. These are courses to use as part of that study abroad program. You might also take an elective. You might be able to take a couple of major courses as part of a study abroad program. So it's relatively easy to find at least one or two of these courses as part of a study abroad program. And then those credits will fulfill these requirements. And that's true whether it's a Seattle University study abroad program or whether you go to just another university in another country. You go do an exchange program with Sophia University in Japan, or you go to Vietnam to study at a university, or you go to Spain and Madrid and study at St. Louis University in Madrid. Or you go with one of the CIEE or other their consortiums that work with various universities around the world for courses. So these can be SU courses, or they can be courses from another institution that you've studied at internationally, and then that you bring back to Seattle University. I'm a big fan of study abroad. My biggest regret for my undergraduate days is I did not do a study abroad program, and I was at a school that had a really good program. So if you can make it work, plan for it. Talk with your advisor, talk with the people in education abroad, and think about saving your Module 3 courses for a study abroad program. The Module 3 courses, you're going to take 3 of them, even though there are 4 listed here. You're going to take another religion course, but this might be a course in Buddhism. It might be a course in Islam. It might be a course in just war theory. It might be a course in the environment and religion. So it's not a Catholic theology course. It's more of a world religions course and thinking about how religion informs the way we interact with important global issues. And then you'll take 2 what we call global challenge courses, 2 courses from outside of your major area. So if you're a major in business, which we count as a social science, you'll take the humanities and the natural science course. If you're in engineering or you're in sciences, you're going to take the social science and the humanities course. If you're in history or English, you're going to take the social science and the natural science course. And again, if you think back to those lists we had earlier, lots of different topical choices here. And yeah, you're not going to know what those are 4 years in advance, but you're going to know what those are couple of quarters in advance, and it gives you the ability to do that kind of planning. And then finally here, in your major, notice there isn't a UCOR code here. In your major, you'll have a capstone course. A capstone course is a place where you do something creative, something that brings together what you've learned in that work. So if you're a nursing major, it's a final clinical opportunity where you're working in a hospital or a medical setting. If it's you're an engineering major, it's doing a year-long design project for a client from outside of campus. In my department in communication, it may be developing your own news web page, or doing an investigative news story, or doing a major research project. If you're a business major, it's going to be developing your own business plan. So you're going to have some opportunity here that's part of the core that's also embedded in your major. And then finally, to come back to a question that Stephanie put in the chat here a couple of moments ago, some of you I know are going to be coming in with previous credits. If you have advanced placement or international baccalaureate, those credits can be used to fulfill a variety of the core courses. 1100, that's our writing course, our math course, our art course, our lab science course, that second religion course. If you're coming in with transfer courses, whether you've got a degree elsewhere or just a couple of courses, how those transfer over is going to depend on what you took and how many credits you earned, but we have very generous transfer rules for how we count those courses over here. The one place where we're more restrictive is in Module 3 or Module 2, and that has to come from a Jesuit university in some way. So you've got some options here as part of that. And Daphne, I see the question. Stephanie's already on it. So there are 2 places, and let me go back to my diagram here for a moment. Here we go. I'll stop right here for a minute. There are 2 places where the core differs depending on what your major is. So if you, come on, Jeff, there we go. UCOR 1200, as I said earlier, you have to, if you're in a major that requires advanced math, you don't have to take the UCOR 1200. And similarly, if you're on a major that requires an advanced science course, kinesiology, nursing, biology, physics, engineering, you don't have to take the UCOR 1800 course. And so those are 2 options. Again, that will be on your program evaluation, and that will be something that your advisor will help with. Okay, so that's a little bit about the university core. Let me stop sharing here. And
Jeff,
Yeah, please.
You might have these more off the top of your head than me. So in terms of taking UCOR 1200, Daphne, psychology major, yes, you are going to have to take UCOR 1200. But what about our marine biology major?
You will not have to take UCOR 1200 because there's going to be a math course required in there. You will probably not be able to test out of all of the math classes with the math placement test. Instead, what you will do is you will place into a particular level of math. And then you will take a math level there. I think the same is true. I don't know that environmental studies requires a math requirement other than 1200. Again,
Yeah.
that's a place, go to the major. Each major is going to have a list of what the courses are. You will, oh, Daphne, I see the question. You will take a separate statistics course and research methods course, a pair of them actually, in the psychology major. That does not fulfill the UCOR 1200 requirement. So you may be able to use AP credit for it or something else like that. But the statistics courses in both business and in psychology and in social work don't fulfill the UCOR 1200 requirement. The statistical thinking course is a course that's not, it's not really a full-scale statistics course. It's a course on how to think about statistics that you see in newspapers, in the media, and things like that. Okay, so that's a little bit about the core, more than a little bit about the core. We've been talking at you now for almost an hour. Is there anything else we can tell you? What other questions do you have? Again, pop them in the chat or just unmute and sing out. Okay. Please, I'm going to put our email. Stephanie already did this, but I'm going to put our email in the chat one more time. Please, if you have questions about the University Core, feel free to reach out to us. We know it's a big part of your education. We think it can be a really exciting part of your education, and we're really happy you joined us today.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. And